Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, creating income streams, part 3 in our series on retiring in the near future. And there's a lot of places to play here, and I just want to go through some basic ideas that you can see. And remember, all along the creating income streams, I'm in the back of my head saying, what are the taxable consequences of being in these investments when I'm a senior? I have to say that everybody says that the number one expense as a senior will be long-term care. I disagree. It'll be number 2. Number 1 is state and federal taxes. And if you want to add on property tax for owning, there's other taxes, but you'll pay taxes. So the name of the game in retirement is learning how to manage your taxes on an ongoing basis. I'm not asking you to become an accountant, but I am asking you to become a little bit more aware of taxes and get a little more proactive. CPAs, accountants, enrolled agents of the IRS are generally conditioned to do the after effect or the after activity of a year. They don't actually tell you, hey, you need to do this or that to try to reduce your bill. So most advisors that are really good in retirement are going to bring up taxation. So whatever you're doing, whether it's dividends and whether you're paying capital gains or ordinary income tax, you just want to look at all the things that are going to cost taxes. And remember, except for 4 items, everything else is going to go and flow over to your Social Security, and it's going to be qualified to whether it's going to tax your benefits or not. It goes over to the provisional income test. The only 4 that don't are HSA accounts, health savings accounts, Roth IRAs, reverse mortgage, and a TAMRA compliant life insurance contract. Those 4 sources of income will not touch your Social Security. So heads up, everything else does. So let's just walk through this. For example, I'm going to have cash equivalents. Now in my example, I showed 3%, which I'm thinking, of course, there's no 5-year CD that's paying 3% right now. So if I was looking at maybe an annuity, but if I'm looking at annuity, that's 5 years from now and it has surrender charges. So if I'm in cash, I'm probably looking to keep really liquid. I might be able to hold liquidity for about a year. I might get $1.25, maybe $1.30 as far as interest credited. But I need to be in cash when I'm a senior. Here's why. I still have deductions on my home. If something happened to my home and we had a storm, I have to pay the deductible. I have the deductible on my car. I have certain deductibles with my gap insurance for Medicare, if I'm paying it. You need to look at those 3 things. My automobile probably needs servicing from time to time, and I might have a bigger servicing job besides just changing oil. So I always want to keep enough cash and emergency in liquidity so that I can move on. And once I've saved that, remember, I don't have to attend to that any longer. I keep saving it. If I haven't had an event, I just keep letting it stay in that account, and then I can move into other cash equivalents. Like I said, maybe a CD for $1.25, or maybe if I'm feeling good about it and I got enough cash, I'm going to actually extend maybe 5 years into an annuity, which is paying 3.5 to 3.5 right now. So you want to look at your cash position, stay liquid for all your emergencies. If you're going to be in the stock market, do you have the risk for this? This is the biggest issue I deal with with seniors. Do you have the risk tolerance test to be in the market? If it takes a hit, are you depending on those dividends, those annual dividends? And remember, since most of them are going to probably be paying on the quarter, can you live between the quarter on the income that you have? Risk tolerance, cash flow. Should I be in these stocks? Bonds. Remember, bonds are kind of our friend. I love, government securities. I feel good about them because it's the United States government. They're issuing paper. I believe in that. But remember, if we start getting tick up in the bond account, what's going to happen to our bond yields that we're already in? They may go down. So just be heads up. Can you live with this for a long time with the basic yield? If you can't, then you probably shouldn't be in this, because right now, in an increasing, even though it's been incremental and small increases, I believe it's going to continue to increase just a little bit because they're a little bit afraid of inflation. I wish they'd be more afraid of our debt, but that's another story. Then you have other income. You could have annuities. Remember, when I'm talking about annuities, by the time we get to our age, no, I don't want you to be into variable annuities at all, not at that age. There's other annuities that pay out. For example, a single premium immediate annuity. If you're going to take your money within 13 months, you should look at that. And I go out to Canex.com, or I might go to immediateannuity.com and see who the players are in that vernacular. And on top of that, I might look at a deferred income annuity, especially if I'm going to move money into the future. Remember, the IRS has allowed us to push some money, instead of waiting till 70 and a half and having to take required minimum distributions, some of that money I might be able to push into the future, age 75, age 80, 85, so I can start moving money out. Deferred income annuities and single premium income annuities, you can make them guaranteed, time certain, for life. There's all kinds of play here, and you may want to look at that to match up with your Social Security. If you're into mutual funds, no problem with you being into mutual funds. Just heads up, do you understand the risk that's involved in mutual funds? And might as well throw in ETFs on the same. Do you know the expense loads? Do you know how much you're paying? Do you understand the risk tolerance? Should you be in mutual funds to begin with? When you start getting old enough, can you take any kind of a hit, any kind of a market drop? If the answer to that is no, and remember, I like to keep some of it in because I need an inflation hedge. I need a little bit more money. But if you just can't stand the basic psychonomics of being in the market and having that kind of profile in your personality, you should just not be in it. But if you are, heads up, know your risk tolerance, know what you can lose, and also know the cost of your funds. Remember, unbelievable. You could be paying 4 to 5% on a fund because they don't disclose the statement of additional information, which I call the statement of additional costs, and they don't do cash drag and other marketing issues that are actually downloaded to the mutual fund and ETF holder. Just be aware of all the costs and your risk tolerance before you get into this kind of thinking. Remember, do mental accounting here. I want to be able to think about what am I doing and the tax consequences, because taxes are going to erode my actual take-home pay. My job as a senior is to manage my taxes. If I'm going to learn anything as a new hobby or a new idea, I'd say learn the basics of tax code, especially with the new tax code for seniors. Think about this. Our standard deduction went up to $24,000. If you're 65, you get an additional $2,500 just for being a senior. Now you're at $26,500. And what happened to the tax brackets under the new code? They actually came down. So our actual deductions went up and our actual tax brackets came down. Pretty good idea for right now, because most seniors do not itemize. So this is a huge idea. Now I want to talk a little bit about making withdrawals. And remember, when you're making withdrawals, again, these are going to be, especially if they're qualified plans, they're going to be taxable. I don't like the 4% rule. If you're pulling money out on a regular basis for income and you don't want to cannibalize your portfolio, you need to start dropping that number to 3%. I don't think that most stocks are paying 4% dividend and bonds are paying 4% coupon rate. I just don't think they're there. So 3% is probably a more conservative idea. If you say, Steve, wow, 3%, that's all I can do, if you don't want to take your portfolio. But if you're willing to see a little bit of portfolio invasion or your principal reduced to make it, you may want to consider doing what I call bifurcating or dividing your portfolio. One is totally dedicated on growth. The other one's totally dedicated on guaranteed income. Remember, you're going to have essential costs in retirement. You're going to have some discretionary spending. You want to go see your grandkids and so forth. You want to be able to employ that now. Remember, we're prepping for retirement in this whole series this week. We're trying to get ready. So in our mind, we have to get our mindset straight. What are we going to do? Are we going to be taking withdrawals? And is it time to take withdrawals? Is it going to be beneficial for us? We want to be able to say, hey, if I have non-qualified money, is it a capital gain treatment or is it regular ordinary income? So most of the time, when we run into cash flow problems, we'll dip into areas where if we would just have waited for the capital gain treatment to take place over a year, one day, I would have been far better taking the capital gain tax. But we forget, we feel pressure, we didn't call the accountant, we didn't talk to our advisor. Remember, communication is huge here. If you don't know what you're doing, it's always great to get escorted through the issues of taxes with a qualified CPA, enrolled agent, or an accountant, and understand what you're getting into in securities and how I could pay, should I pay capital gains instead of paying ordinary income tax. Some of these are just basic ideas that everybody says, well, Steve, which one is right? Well, in this corner, I have taxable income. And remember, I have $26,500 with my standard deduction and my senior deduction, so I might be able to neutralize some of my taxable income, especially from qualified plans. So I want to start matching up. How much is the government going to make me at age 70 and a half take required minimum distributions? For many people in the United States, that money is going to be less than $26,500 to match up to required minimum distributions. So in fact, you're offsetting your income using your standard deduction and your senior deduction. I think it's a great idea. If you don't need income, why pay the tax? So if you can defer, you can use annuities. You don't have to take your money out of your qualified plan until 70 and a half. And even if you want to still defer, you could use a qualified longevity annuity contract to push it all the way out, if you wanted to the sum in the money. You'll have to figure out what you can take out legally and push it all the way out to age 85. Those are the issues, the yin and the yang. I want to get my rates down. I want to take all my taxable income, match it up against my deductions, my standard deduction and senior deduction, and I want to defer income anytime I really don't need it. Why should I pay taxes if I'm not going to need it? So you're always thinking, creating income streams, what are the tax issues, and how much can I put in my pocket? Because that's the name of the game, income and an enjoyable lifestyle in retirement. Don't forget to watch our next segment on maximizing your Social Security, part 4 in our series on retiring in the near future. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.